How are you? I don't want to look at that picture. You don't have to look at it. Can you just answer a few questions? No! No, you don't have to look at it. You don't have to. No! You don't have to. I don't want the picture.
Just take that stuff there. Just
Okay, you don't have to. You don't have to
I know
put
y'all
the
didn't load
picture.
Patterson. Well,
Okay, what do you have there? What do you have there?
Right.
No, I'm not going to make you look at it, okay? I'm not going to make you look at it.
Just pull up too bad.
Okay?
I'm going to have to breathe.
It's down. It's down. You don't have to take a picture. What do you have in your hands?
It's not just us.
What do you have in your hands?
Right.
You don't love me. You don't love me.
Yeah, yes, you got you. Yeah.
Oh.